Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for The Last of Us. This one's going to be doing a comparison video. We're going to be talking about The Last of Us game and the TV show. Now that we've seen both adaptations of the first part of the story, we're going to talk about what's better, The Last of Us show or the video game. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing another video today. This one's going to be doing another video for The Last of Us. This one's going to be doing another video. We're going to be comparing the first season of HBO's The Last of Us to the Naughty Dog video game, Last of Us. So, this is a video that I've been wanting to do ever since the season has, finished, and I figured we'd wait a couple days and then we'd go ahead and do this video. So, The Last of Us television show, season 1, you can now watch on HBO. I make it sound like I'm sponsored. I swear to God I'm not sponsored, okay? I'm just telling you, it's a really good show. Go ahead and watch it on HBO, okay? So, yeah, we got HBO Last of Us Season 1. That's wrapped up. And for over 10 years now, we've had the first part of The Last of Us video game. Now, obviously, since then, we've had Part 2, which obviously that has no inclusion in this video, but Last of Us Part 2 will be adapted into 2 seasons based off of what Neil Druckmann has stated. So, it's going to be a longer process to adapt the second game. Now, how do we feel like the TV show did in comparison to the game? Well, let's break this down. So, The Last of Us video game, in my opinion, is the greatest video game story ever told. Part 1, that is. Okay, don't get that confused with Part 2. I do not like Part 2. You can yell at me all you want, but that's just my opinion. I think Part 2 is an absolute insult. Now, Part 1 is an absolute masterpiece storytelling piece. It is. The first game is absolutely incredible in every way. There's no flaws with it. There's no issues with it whatsoever when it comes to the story. And I think it's amazing. I really do. I think it's an amazing game. So, with the pressure that put on Season 1 of The Last of Us show, how do we feel like they did? Let's go over the actors. Pedro Pascal as Joel, I think, is absolutely flawlessly just on point. It's on point. It's not even funny. Pedro Pascal in the role of Joel Miller from the video game is absolutely perfect. I think there are writing issues with him. I think there are certain things they could have done better with him, but the actor himself absolutely killed it. 100%. Bella Ramsey is Ellie. Now, this is where we get into a problem that I do have with the show. And I know, every time anybody dare talk bad about Bella Ramsey, playing Ellie, everybody freaks out because for some reason, how dare you not, say anything bad about Bella Ramsey? Well, I'm sorry. Honesty is what we do here, so that's what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Bella Ramsey is not a bad choice for Ellie. She really isn't. She's not a bad choice whatsoever. Is she the Ellie? Is she the perfect choice? No, she's not. Absolutely not. And you know when I noticed that is when we saw Ellie's mother in the Season 1 finale. When I saw the performance that Ashley Johnson did, even if it was just for a couple minutes, that's when I knew in that moment, that's not Ellie. That is not Ellie from the game, and nobody's going to convince me otherwise. Now, let me give credit where credit is due. I think Bella Ramsey does have moments where she's really good. The comedy, she's on point. And the David final fight and her final kill with David, amazing. Absolutely flawlessly acted, and she did a really, really good job. Now, other scenes, like the scene in the game when Ellie runs into David and James on the road, and she says, yeah, get out of here, that's my dear. And James, go get me some medical, supplies or whatever. Same for Buddy Boy over there. And in the show, go get me medical supply. Same for Buddy Boy. I'm like, hold on a second. So, okay. In the game, Ashley Johnson performed that very well. There are moments with Bella Ramsey where I had to kind of sit back and be like, okay, they could have reshot that. They could have done a better job with that. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Bella Ramsey was flawless because I do think that there are moments where the performance was definitely off. And as a major fan of the game, as somebody that's played the game a lot and someone that's a big fan of the game, I can say that I think that Bella Ramsey is just an okay casting. She's just an okay casting. I don't think she's great. I don't think she's bad. I just think, she was on set, she auditioned, and they didn't know what to do, so they're like, okay, well, we'll throw her in there. She seems good enough, And that's my opinions on the Bella Ramsey as Ellie situation. Now, Tommy in the TV show, absolutely amazing. That actor did a great job. Marlene in the TV show, amazing. Hell, it was the same actress. Marlene did a really, really good job, and was just like the game. Same thing with David. I think David in the show, the actor, I know him from El Camino, and he was really, really good in that too. That guy as David absolutely killed it. And Ashley Johnson's character, and of course, Troy Baker's character playing the little cameo characters, they did really good too. Tess, I thought was amazing in the show. I thought they did a great job with her, and the actress was really good. Bill and Frank, I thought were good on the show. I just feel like they should have kept it more to the game. They should have done things more similar to the game is my only issue with them. But overall, the actors did really good, and the overall cast of the show I think was really solid. I think it was really good. So, in terms of actors, the only one that I would say is like just it's passable at best is Bella Ramsey, and I know that that's something that a lot of people don't like to hear because Bella Ramsey does have a lot of people that are defending her and a lot of stuff like that. Like I said, I don't think she's amazing. I don't think she's bad either. I just think she's mid. You know what I'm saying? So those are the actors. In terms of that, I think they did a really good job. Now, in terms of the writing and the overall storytelling and how the story compares to the video game. So this is the kicker. I'm going to get started with the outbreak and the first episode, the pilot. I think the show did better. I really do. I think the show did way better. Sarah actually had a lot of great character development to her. And I felt the emotion from Pedro Pascal and the actress who plays Sarah. I apologize, I'm blanking on her name right now, but she did a phenomenal job. And the overall opening of the show with the outbreak and just everything up till the current day was flawless. And I think they outdid the game. They really did. They outdid the game on that one 100%. It just had more of an emotional and insane weight to it when you're watching it in live action. Now, the current timeline as well, too, with Tess and Joel, I actually like how they kind of gave you a bit of an idea that Tess and Joel might have actually been romantically involved a little bit, which I like. I think that's a good addition. And just the overall, first episode, taking Ellie out of the compound and stuff, going on the road, I think it was really good. And as for the second episode with the death of Tess and, the overall first interaction with the clickers, I think it was on par with the game. I honestly, take your pick. I think it was just as good in the show as it was in the game. Now, the next arc in the TV show versus the game is Bill and Frank. Now, Bill and Frank, I'm going to give this one to the video game. So the video game gets one first point. The video game, I just feel like had such a better just overall vibe to it going on. And not only that, we got to the point, they got their truck, they met Bill, we got, some infected in there, which I thought were really cool. I think that was our first encounter with the bloater in the game too. And it was overall really, really well done. It was a really, really well done arc in the game. Now, in the TV show, they opted for this romance, type of thing where Bill and Frank die together and they're together throughout the entire episode. And basically, they die by the end and they give Joel a truck is basically what the episode is. And here is all I'm going to say about it, okay? It doesn't matter if it was a man and a woman or if it's a man and another man, I want to make sure I specify that before people judge me for that, right? Because we live in a world these days where people get offended by the tiniest little thing. It does not matter to me if it was a man and woman or a man and man or a woman and a woman, okay? This was an utter waste of time. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, yes, it was an emotional episode. Yes, you felt bad for Bill and Frank. Yes, it was, sad to see. But overall, what does it really do for the story? Joel gets a truck that they crash the episode later. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you think about it that way, Bill and Frank in the TV show should have been a separate webisode series. That's what I personally would have done with it. I would have made it a separate webisode standalone series instead of making it mandatory that you spend an entire week with two people, make you care about them, and then kill them off, To me, I felt like that was a major waste of time when literally you could have literally jumped from episode 2 to episode 4 and just say, oh yeah, they found a truck on their way. Yeah, there you go. They found a truck, now they're in it, boom, there you go. I hardcore think that the game did better. Now, as for the Citigroup and Kathleen and everything related to that, again, the game. I have voiced my opinion on this many, many times before, but Kathleen is not a character that's in the video game, and I'm not exactly sure why she was in the TV show. In the game, we had David's group that was a part of this. In the show, they added an additional group led by a female character named Kathleen, who got 2 episodes in the show. Meanwhile, the biggest villain of the Last of Us video game, named David, got 50 minutes and 1 episode. Meanwhile, Kathleen got 2 episodes and she wasn't even in the game. And I've said this many times and I'm going to say it again. I think Kathleen as an overall character just does not land for me. She sounds way too, like, happy and jitty given the, the events that she's going through and given what's going on with her group. She sounds way too happy. She sounds way too happy for what's going on. And I'm not exactly sure what the point was with her character, but it did not land whatsoever. And the video game, you had a lot of build-up for this David character. In the show, you had Mrs. Yippee and Kansas City is free, and no, not at all. I am not a fan of what they did with her in the show. She's not from the game, and that already is a major risk taker, but when she's bad, and she's a bad TV original character, yeah, you got a problem somewhere. So, that's just me. I don't think the actress sold it whatsoever. I don't think the character is that good, and I just think overall they should have stuck to David. They should have stuck to what they did in the game, and that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Now, Tommy and Jackson and everything related to that, I thought that was incredible. I thought that was incredible in the TV show, and honestly, I think it's honestly better in the show, to be honest. I just think they added a lot more with, Tommy's wife, and the actor for Tommy absolutely sold it. He did a fantastic job, and I love the overall winter vibe to that episode. I love the look of it. Jackson is really, really cool in the show, and I honestly think that's one thing that they really nailed. So I would say show did it better. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Left Behind, the Ellie standalone. Yeah, no, this is the game, 100%. Where is the zombie herd of infected? I mean, seriously, one zombie? Give me a fucking break. We barely get any infected in this show whatsoever. Second of all, they bottle off this episode and force you to watch this while thinking that Joel is dead, okay? They literally take 2 weeks off so that they can focus on Ellie's love story, right? Once again, like episode 3, very familiar. We spend an entire episode in the love story, we get the tiniest little bit of current day stuff, and then it's on to the next episode, And this is why the game works so much better with Left Behind. In the game, it was a DLC, okay? In the game, it's a DLC that you can play if you're interested. You know what I'm saying? In the show, they make it mandatory for you to sit there for 1 week and just get that episode. Not satisfying whatsoever. I don't care what anybody says. I thought that episode was a flop. Now, episode 8. This is when I realized what was truly better, okay? And this is really the answer to this video. David in the show and his group were super tamed down in the show compared to the game. In the game, they were terrifying. They were scary. There were so many emotions and so many fearsome scenes with them. In the TV show, it was just like, okay, I mean, they're religious because apparently every villain group has to be religious these days. And they reveal that they're cannibals way later on. And they look at David as this father to them and stuff. It doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. And I think it had its moments. I like when Joel's torturing those guys. I like some of that stuff. But even that stuff, I'd say it was way more tame in the show compared to the game. In the game, Joel was an absolute boss. In the show, I found they just made him rest and sleep for most of it. I mean, he barely did anything aside from torturing those 2 guys. I mean, the guy didn't even go into the building when Ellie was done killing David. She just, killed David, walked outside, and then Joel found her. In the game, he found her as that was going on. You know what I mean? And in the show, it's oh, no. Yeah, no. Joel, that's just it. He's just there. They walk off. That's it, right? And well, then you get into, in my opinion, the biggest reason why I think the show is definitely lacking compared to the game. In the game, in the final arc, when we go to the hospital in the TV show was it was good. I mean, it was good, but, we still had the death of Marlene. We had the emotion, behind Ellie getting captured and stuff, and it was, pretty cool for Joel to go in there and kill those guys in the building and stuff. I do agree. But on the flip side, and here's the big thing, at the end of the game, this was a major arc. We had bloaters, we had clickers, we had Ellie literally almost dying by drowning in water. Do you guys remember that scene in the game? And in the show, they are telling pun jokes for the millionth time over, and they get caught, and then Joel, like, gets her out of there within, like, 10 minutes, you know? In the game, and this is what I love so much about the game, you felt the desperate need for Joel to save Ellie's life. In the show, it was like, okay, bam, you know, kill a few guys in the hallway, cool, grab her, out of there, you know? In the game, you felt the emotion behind that scene, you know? When he picked up Ellie in the game, you had this, like, cinematic music, you had, like, the blinking red lights, you had the guys that were chasing after them. It was, like, this super emotional thing as he's grabbing Ellie with him, and they're trying to desperately get out of this hospital after, like, over a half hour worth of Joel trying to actually get her back. I mean, it was so good. And I'm pretty sure that Joel didn't even spare any of the doctors in the video game. In the show, he killed one guy, and that's it. So, I don't know. I felt like the game did that way better. The show version, everything was very condensed. Everything was very cut down, and that was it. Now, in terms of, you know, comparing the show to the game and overall just kind of going over it, I think that the show easily it's a good try for sure, but the game is way superior. I think the game is way better. Joel, overall, in the show, I just felt like he was disappointing. I mean, I thought he had some good moments for sure, like in the finale, like in the premiere. But overall, I would say that Joel, there was a lot of time there where I was like, man, Joel is literally not doing anything. In the video game, this guy was, like, actually insane. This guy was really, really tough, and he, you know, showed that. In the show, it was like, okay, we'll have him have a badass moment in the finale. The rest of the time, he's going to be sleeping or doing nothing, you know? And again, that's not the fault of Pedro Pascal. I just feel like the writing for Joel was not what it was in the game. And with Ellie, I think the writing for her was good, but I think it's actually the opposite problem. I think that Bella Ramsey definitely had her slip-up issues. And in terms of just the overall story, I just feel like the game was better. The game was flawless, and the show, here's the thing about the show, when the game is better, it's like, okay, it's way better, but with the show, it's like, even if scenes in the show are as good as the game, they're just as good. Like, they're not way better, and that's the thing about it. I feel like the game did everything right. I know I sound like I'm ass-kissing the game right now, but it's because I am. The game is absolutely amazing, and it's a flawless piece of storytelling. So that's my overall thoughts. That's what I would say. The show is definitely not as good. It's a good try. I liked it. I think the show is you know, a solid effort, but is it The Last of Us video game part 1? Hell no. Absolutely not. So let me know in the comment section below. Where do you guys stand on this one? Do you think the game is better like me, or do you think that the show is better? Let me know in the comment section below. So anyway, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this video for The Last of Us, make sure to click the subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos of The Last of Us. Make sure to follow me on Dan's The Walking Dead Reviews on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos of The Last of Us. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.